Hello, friends. Here we are at the end of November, a day before Thanksgiving, winding up a year that has been a very, very long year. 9 months ago, we had all hoped that by this Thanksgiving time, things would be back to normal. But everything is far from normal. Your plans for tomorrow are probably much, much different than what they were last year. But different does not always have to be bad, and different always can have elements of thankfulness. And that's what we are going to try to strive to do today with this day before Thanksgiving, Kathy's Corner. Let's go back to that first Thanksgiving, which was many, many years ago. A group of people had traveled over from England in hopes of finding freedom to worship the way that they wanted to. And they were lured by the promise of land ownership and prosperity in a new country. There were 102 people that sailed over on the Mayflower in hopes of the great new start in this new world. It took them 66 days to get across the ocean. And when they finally hit land, it was well north of where they had intended to go, and it took another month for them to get on down to what became Plymouth Rock. By then it was wintertime, and not really a good time of year for everybody to get off the boat in a new world. So the majority of the people on board, of that 102 passengers, the majority stayed on board throughout that brutal New England kind of winter. Talk about isolation. My guess is that their accommodations were not quite like a cruise ship. And as happens when people are in tight quarters, they start becoming sick. There was all kinds of contagious disease that spread through that Mayflower. Sound familiar? In fact, the following year, when they celebrated that first Thanksgiving, nearly 50% of that crew and passenger list had perished. That's a tough thing to wrap your head around when we set up our Thanksgiving displays with this bountiful harvest and our pilgrims all dressed in fine, crisp-looking outfits and smiles on their faces. They went through a long, long year of really struggling with probably lots and lots of tears and lots of heartaches. But that first Thanksgiving did roll around. After the winter subsided, they, along with the help of some Native Americans, learned how to grow a crop, learned how to decide which plants were safe to eat, which were poisonous. And we did have the first Thanksgiving in November the following year. That first Thanksgiving was had to celebrate their first corn crop. Those of us here in Shelby County, we all had a pretty good corn crop this year. Those of us that are farmers know that the yields were up, and kind of a crazy thing, but prices even nudged up this year during the harvest. So we're all grateful for that. But living on a farm is not always an easy task, just like farming wasn't easy for the Pilgrims all those years ago. And there are many times when it's discouraging and it's hard to find things that are thankful, but not really. By the time you just blink your eyes and open them again, you can see something around you that you're grateful for in that day. And I read an article in one of Chuck's farm magazines. It was in the Progressive Farmer. It's a DTN publication. And the article was written by Jennifer Campbell. Now, Jennifer Campbell also used to be Jennifer Eck. She's Steve and Bobby Eck's daughter. She's married to a farmer, and she writes for this magazine. She came to see us at the Senior Center last year, and she has a blog, Farm Wife Feeds, and had recipes on it, and we had recipes from her blog, and her mom made the yummiest desserts. But Jennifer's article was kind of poignant this time, I thought, this year especially. The first line said, "Do you ever feel mired down in the day-to-day?" And I think we can all say that this year has made us feel mired in the day-to-day. And she ended it with, life was never guaranteed to be easy. It's the hard times that make the good times really, really good. And I've got to agree with that. And so I wrote Jennifer and I said, could we use this article? Or better than that, would you make a video for us? And bless her heart, in the midst of the harvest at her house, she said, sure, I'll make it from the tractor. So we're going to take a little spin to this next segment, and Jennifer's going to speak to us about finding those joys, those things to be grateful for, those blessings every single day. Thanks, Jennifer.
Hi, guys. Jennifer Campbell coming to you live from my tractor, where it feels like I've taken up residence. We are on the last stretch of harvest, and so I feel like this is where I live now. And so when I was asked to make a short video for the newsletter, it was like, it's gonna have to be from the tractor, and she was like, perfect. So I'm Jennifer Campbell. I farm with my family in Johnson County, and I also do some writing for DTN, Progressive Farmer Magazine, which is why I'm here right now. My November article for DTN was called Stop and Give Me 3, and it was we implement that all year round, but it was my November Thanksgiving article, you might say. I started this practice when my kids were little, and I'm also catching, sorry. I started this practice when my kids were little. I got tired of the dinner conversation every evening focused around what went wrong with everybody's day instead of what went right. And believe me, we all have bad days, and I have my fair share of them, and I do my fair share of complaining. So this has long time been something that I've done, and I just implemented it with my kids when they were little, and I also make my husband do it when he complains. So what we do is, if you spend too much time complaining and telling me what went wrong with your day, I make you stop and give me 3 good things. 3 things that went right with your day, because I think that sometimes we get really super focused on what went wrong, and it snowballs, and then every time you turn around, everything just seems to be going wrong. And so I think then if we learn to focus on the good, then we see the good. And they don't have to be, like, they can be simple. I'll let you go to dtnpf.com to read the entire article, but it just talks about, if you're going to complain, you're going to stop and give me 3. And they can be so simple. They can be obvious. They can be simple. They can be earth-moving. But And they can be all three, because you get to do three. But they can be super easy or earth-shattering. I don't think you can read them, but I love to write on my windows. I'm a very visual thinker, and so as I was making this, I'm like, okay, Jennifer, you're tired. It feels like you've been in the tractor for days and weeks on end, but there's some good things going on. So my three for today are the sun is shining, which I am very thankful for because I have to have the sun. And so sometimes I might tend to focus on the fact that the sun is shining and I can't see very well, or I'm squinting all the time, but come on, the sun is shining. And my second one is my shoes are on the right feet. I'm not gonna lie. And that's simple, but I'm so thankful my shoes are on the right feet because when you get tired, that's not always the easiest thing to do. And my third one is I survived cancer. Sometimes that's my earth-shattering one. Sometimes I think about things like that and I'm just like, geez, Jennifer, how can you be having a bad day? And everybody has them, but for me, I was just like, come on. Put your head on straight and focus on the good, because that is what you focus on determines your mood. And so if you're focusing on the bad, I think you're going to be in a bad mood. And you can also do them on repeat. Like I have one that I continually do when I'm in a bad mood, and it's, I didn't kill anyone today, so 2 thumbs up. So, you can go to the dtnpf.com to read the whole article. It's Jennifer Campbell, Stop and Give Me 3. I also have one I like about the power of the pause, and you can read that one on that site as well. And then you can also go to farmwifefeeds.com, where I do a lot of our family recipes and talk about life on the farm. It's funny, I never ever, none of my English teachers probably ever thought I would be a writer. But the other day I happened to see our taxes laying around, and it said wife's occupation writer, and I'm like, dude, I actually have an occupation and I get paid to write. And look, a fourth good thing. So I think that focusing on the good makes you have a good day, because let's be honest, we all have bad days, and we all have hard days, but I've determined that it's the bad things that make us realize how good the good is, because without the bad, we would just all be the same. So have a good day, guys.
Folks are blessed to find the best in every day, living by a fine philosophy. Everyone beneath the sun must find a way, and I have found the only way for me. I don't believe in fretting or grieving, why mess around with strife? I never was cut out to step and strut out, give me the simple life. Some find it pleasant, dining on pheasant, those things roll off my knife. Just feed me tomatoes and mashed potatoes, give me the simple life. A cottage small is all I'm after, not one spacious and wide. A house that's filled with joy and laughter, and the ones you love inside. Some like the high road, I'll take the low road, free from the care and strife. Seems funny and seedy, ah yes indeedy, give me the simple life. A cottage small is all I'm after, not one spacious and wide. A house that's filled with joy and laughter, and the ones that you love inside. Some find it thrilling for one who's willing to be a farmer's wife. The kids will call him Pappy, sure makes me happy. Give me the simple, just plain simple. Give me the simple life. Ah, the simple life. I think that's probably what most of us have had to learn to realize a little more in 2020. And it's good when we strip away some of the things that distract us all the time and we're brought back to the basics. It's easier to look around and appreciate and be thankful for the little simple things that we have learned to take for granted. The simple things like when I get up in the morning, my house is warm because we have electricity. The simple things like I can go to the grocery store and I don't have to go out and slay my dinner for supper. And at that grocery store, there's an aisle for quick run through. Not always quick, but it's there. Anyway, we talked about some of the things that we were grateful for, that we were thankful for a couple weeks ago at Seniors. Buffy Powers, you might have seen her last week, talked about how grateful we are for the blessing of laughter. We sure laugh a lot at Seniors, and I have such a wonderful bunch of folks that come. I had some of them that gave me some great things that they were grateful for this year that I wanted to share with you. Those things included things like their families. So many of us have families that are close to us, both geographically and close in our hearts. The families have gotten closer together this year in being able to help one another through this pandemic. Our bubbles have required us to stay home and be together more often than we were when we had so many other opportunities to go out and do this, that, and something else that drove us farther apart rather than closer together. So we're grateful for our families, grateful for our friends who listen, friends who take time to call when they haven't heard from us for a while, friends who call and say, I'm going to town to pick up some groceries. Could I help you out and get you something? Friends that love and support one another. Patty Hetricks mentioned that she was so grateful for all the people that work so hard to get our supplies to us. Mailmen, UPS drivers, truck drivers that bring produce, that bring cleaning supplies, that bring all the things that we need just day by day. Also, Patty was grateful for the price of gas going down. There you go. There's something else to be thankful for. Essential workers, of course, nurses and doctors in the hospitals that are fighting this crazy virus and trying to help us and protect themselves. But not just the doctors and the nurses, but the housekeepers, the people that are cooking the meals, the people that are delivering the drugs, the people that are in the laboratories working on the drugs to help bring an end to this pandemic. We have some things that we've not had to be thankful for a while, but boy, we are mighty grateful that they're working towards an end to this. Also for caregivers that help within a home, within a family, caregivers that are working so hard in our assisted livings and our nursing facilities where our friends are unable to see their friends and their family. There's a huge burden on them right now. And we're also grateful that there are people willing to do that and love on these folks just a little more while we can't be there to love on them ourselves. We found that 2020 showed us that there were a whole lot of things that we just took for granted. And we are just reminded of all those things that we need to be so grateful for this year. Nancy Esters sent a poem from an old Ideals magazine. Can you remember those? They had beautiful covers with all kinds of poems and stories that just feel good things. And from one of those old Thanksgiving Ideals, I think she said 1962, comes this this Thanksgiving Thoughts by Kathleen Haley. Says, I'm thankful for each separate day, for every moment in it, the chance to work, to learn, to play, to set a goal and to win it. I'm thankful for the common things we often take for granted, the sun, the rain, the birds, the trees, each flower that is planted. I'm thankful for the winter time, spring, summer, and fall, and for the wise and generous God who watches over all, and for this land, America, wherein free men are living, with the right to worship as they please. I tender my thanksgiving. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I thank you, dear Lord, for such a wonderful Ah, yes, what a beautiful, beautiful world. So evident in all those pictures that I just snap with my camera when I'm out and about. Most all of them were taken here in Shelby County, many right out my front picture window, couple in Idaho. We don't have mountains around here, you know. But there are so many wonderful things to just open our eyes and look around outside to see, to be thankful for, to be grateful for. And everyone that you just looked at, I'm grateful for, including that group on the couch, my family. I'm also grateful for the prayers that you offered for my son, Jeremy. His cancer is in remission again, and as we sit around this table on Thursday, we will give thanks for that as well. I'm not a bit surprised that the number one offering when I ask for things folks were thankful, grateful for with my senior group, the number one was for their churches, for their belief in God, for their salvation, for their church families that help them get through everything. I know I certainly feel that way about my church. And for me, that's what Thanksgiving is all about. Being thankful not just for all these wonderful things in this place we live, but for the source of that gift and his gift that keeps on giving. Yoletta asked us Sunday at church, she challenged us, in fact, to think of the top 100 things that we're grateful for and send her a list. I challenge you to do the same thing. As Jennifer said, it could be as simple as getting both shoes on the right feet when you get up in the morning. It could be as grand as remission from cancer. It could be as plain as the peanut butter sandwich that was on my plate today. There are many, many things to be grateful for. I'm going to close this Thanksgiving Kathy's Corner out with something else I'm really, really grateful for, the music in my life. You've heard Robin playing earlier. You're going to hear Christy Leeser playing, Christy Meyer Leeser, for those of you that go way, way back. She's playing the clavinova at church. And my best girlfriend in the whole wide world, Becky Barton, is joining me to sing our favorite thanks song. Happy Thanksgiving, folks.